Okay, so when I saw that, when I saw this thing that it's we're only seeing actually 0.01% of the total spectrum, but we all know what other vibrations or frequency can do. Although we can't see them, color and light is the only little part that we can actually detect with our human eyes. But that's why it still has a massive effect, just like all the other frequencies. But that's easier. You can't see them, but we all know if you're going to sit in a microwave, you won't survive that, for instance. So that was really very, yeah, an eye opener for me. So when you dive in deeper, although it's a frequency, our emotions are also frequencies. Like emotion in English is emotion. E is the energy, and it's in motion. Yeah, so it's an energy. And behind every different color, there are different emotions, and it communicates different message. So we are now going to just very briefly go and have a look what all the different colors are actually saying about you after while answering a question with a color, because every color has a good and a negative quality. There is no excellent color or bad color. That's not the case, and it just depends what question are you answering. And we will go to have a little play with that. So if you have a pen and paper at hand, we will ask you some questions, and then you can have a read what it says, and we can discuss that if you want that as well. So it's all about asking the right question. Yeah. So one of the questions you could ask is, what is your favorite color? Just at the moment. Yeah. Your favorite color can be consistent. It can change. It can all of a sudden go back to a previous color. Doesn't matter. Your favorite color at the moment. What is your favorite color, or what are you using a lot, or what really appeals to you? So if you write that down, then that is not your full personality, because the qualities of that color you have chosen, they will be coming back in your personality. But I never believe that you will, you're only a strict red personality, or a blue or a green. No, there's always different colors will be added to it. But your favorite color is actually telling you some characteristics or talents that you have that are quite dominant. And there are also people who will have a favorite color, but they will never wear that color. And what that says, so you just answer this question with a yes or a no. What it says, if you never wear that color, that the talents and the characteristics of your personality, some of them are quite dormant. You're not actually presenting them as they are. Yes, so you're not communicating, or it's a little bit low under the surface, these qualities that you have. And now just have a think. So just think about your house. What is a predominant color in your house, or what is a color that really takes over a room? It could be furniture, it could be a painting, it could be the whole wall. Just have a look at what is a predominant color in your house, or what is really stands out. And what that means is actually that you are looking for these qualities to make you feel comfortable and safe. Yes, if you have that color around you, it's like your cocoon, it's like your safety net. That is what you need at this point in time to feel comfortable. And it's like sometimes we change the colors of a room and the whole energy changes. I have even experienced that a room became cooler because it was a cooler color. So, and the color changes in your house can make a massive difference. And all of a sudden, sometimes you think, oh, I have to, get a new color on the wall, or I need new furniture. That is just because you're shifting of what is actually important to you and what makes you feel good. So you have written down the colors, I hope. So now I will show you, and it's just a bullet point. It's not the full story, but I just wanted to share with you how you can see that actually the colors are a reflection of some of your thoughts. So just read this if it is accurate with your own answers. So if you are overdosing on a color, the negative aspects can come into place. So if you're wearing one color persistently, like more than 70%, like people always see you in that color. If you have that, write it down, and then you can read that the negative aspects can come into play.
And you could also, on this one, Thelma, just say that if it's a color that you just don't like at the moment,
But that's another
rather
one
than
that
wearing,
comes
yeah.
later.
Oh, you're
That's
going to
not
do that.
that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another one. Because that's a little bit different. Yeah. So as Mary was saying, is there a color you really don't like? You will never go to awards, or you just don't like. Write it down, and then see what it means. Yes, have you all gotten the answers? Yeah. So as you said, I mean, we just asked a few questions. They all tell a story. And Mary will now also demonstrate, and you can also participate in that, how an online session will go.
Okay, so what Thelma's gone into, can you make that screen bigger, Thelma? Yeah. So what Thelma has gone into is our online tool, and this is the same process as is in the book. Could you just indicate, has anyone in the chat just let me know, or I think that we can probably unmute because we really do want some feedback from you on this, or is it easier to do it in the chat? Has anybody, done the online session?
No.
No, nobody has done. So what we've done on an online platform is set it up so that just via Zoom, which is very easy, you are able just to select your colors, because as we said last week, that the selection of colors is, really important. You can go backwards, you can go forwards. So what we're going to do is, if somebody has an issue, it doesn't have to be one person. It can, but we're just going to do the 5-step process. We can do it with everyone, where you can all choose a color, because I think that we have time. But if you have an issue, or just a problem, and keep it like quite a small problem for this morning, what color would you choose? And the first person who puts it in the chat is what is the color that Thelma will choose. Brown. Okay, brown. That's Philippa. Thanks, Philippa. We're going to go to brown, and let's have a look and see. This is pinpointing your problem exactly as in the book. Can you see that? I hope you can see that, Philippa. And if you could just indicate in the chat if there's anything there that sort of stands out, or you could just actually put the numbers, because in the, which is really handy in the online one, we've numbered them. Number 2. So too much, oh gosh, yes, too much hard work filling your life and overwhelming you. You know, isn't that just such a common theme? Okay, so shall, well, actually, Philippa, we might just continue with you. We've got plenty of time. So are you happy to do that? If you can just let me know. And could we just unmute you so we're talking to you? Ask to unmute. So the next one, continue, is, can you go, Thelma? What's blocking you from moving forward? And this is where we're going to that emotional side. You know, you've got that issue. What's blocking you from moving forward? And we are working with Philippa here, so if she can just put that in. Blue? Are you meaning is the ordinary blue? You know. So this is identifying the block, and you can choose. Oh, you meant dark blue. Go back, Thelma, because they are different. And when you see that, you'll see how it relates to the brown as well. And just pop your, you know, it can be one statement, it can be several. And remember, we don't know what your issue is, so you can just do whatever you like. So 18. Right. And then we also add in, and thanks, Philippa, that she's gone to 18. She did that. Go down to the bottom, Thelma. Go down. No, go. We also put in health issues in that second one, because, you know, our emotions and our and our emotional self and our physical self are um, are linked. So we'll go to the next stage of, to continue. When you've got the big screen, we don't really need to scroll to that extent. So in the waterfall, it is always looking at, this is the pattern. I always ask the question of, you know, is that a pattern of your life? How long's that been there? Because that will also release or uncover a lot of information. And, you know, when did that start? Have you always been like that? And, you know, often all of those things that are in the block, many of them are set up by a traumatic moment, where there has been a big shock, or there's been a huge change in your life, or it has been an ongoing pattern in your upbringing. It has been there long before the age of 7. It really is a part of the unconscious self-belief. So it's either a pattern in your life, or it is something where something happened to make you change your whole view of life. Do you want to keep that? As we said last time, you just take a moment. Let's leave that. And I often say, let's just for the moment let it go, so that we make space for something new. So take a moment to just leave that on that side, step into that waterfall, and allow there to be space made for something new. So then you step out of the waterfall, and I like to say go in one side, step out the other side, and then continue. And this question of how would it feel if everything was solved is that magical question from NLP, because it's really asking you to suspend your rational mind. It is, and it's a timeline. It's what would it be like with magically, if without you knowing how this whole problem was solved, and what's the yeah. What's the color you like on the board now can be a simple way of expressing it. Yellow. She's gone to yellow. And if Philippa didn't notice how quickly she did that, because often that one, it just stands out. So let's just find out which ones. Oh, before she does that, while she's reading it, Philippa, I always find it so beneficial just to take that moment to say, just stop for a moment and feel that yellow and just feel it wash through you, head, throat, heart, gut, feet. Is it warm or cool? And I'll just wait till you just get that feeling, that connection. Warm. And that is really telling us that you've connected emotionally to the color. So now have a look and see which ones. 14 and 16. Okay, so at this stage, that's just the feeling of having that roadmap and change. But you know that now we're going to the next stage. What new thoughts and feelings? And these new, this one is, you know, what are you saying to yourself? What kind of inner dialogue? So we're going to ask you to choose the color for this one that's going to support the yellow. Orange. And notice that these, oh, Philippa, the same thing. And everybody, it's good for everyone to do this. Just take a moment to feel the orange, head, throat, heart, gut, legs, and feet. Is it warm or cool? Just type it in, Philippa, when you've got it. Warm. And she's found 10. Trust and follow my gut feelings. Just see if there's anything else in there, Philippa. You've got that. Just go a little bit further down, Thelma. May not be, but that's trusting yourself. And just even that one statement, you know, is, you know, navy can often be about self-doubt, but, you know, just that, just reminding yourself with that energy of the orange, it is about trusting your feelings. And I always liked it when we were doing the colors that with orange. One of the ones that Thelma used to talk about was uh, I always had the feeling of something like abseiling, where you've got to trust your equipment. Yes, I know what I'm doing, and then you've just got to step up that cliff and abseil down. It is really just trusting where you are in the moment, and it is really that you're being held, but you are free to move is just a wonderful expression of the energy of orange. And so just you've chosen some simple statements, but now we're just again, just this is the third positive, what will help you continue to evolve. And continue, Thelma. And which one, Philippa? Turquoise. Again, just take that moment, head, throat, heart, gut, legs and feet. Is it warm or cool? It's how you connect to the energy. Neither. Serene, 4. And number 4. And so I went back to there. So yeah, so with that, those statements that you had, Philippa, it is just picking out those key words for the ones that from your energy. Even doing it at that time, you do want to remind yourself of the connections that you made. So you might just have it from yellow, one word from each, or you just may have one statement. But as we were saying last week, you've got your words, and then you've got you have your words, but you also want to connect to the color with that connecting. Is it warm or cold? And then, you're always, your little pad, you may have several words or, just one statement, and yours had quite a theme, and you can see how those positives are really the opposite of that other of those negative colors. So I hope you've got those. We've got time to do somebody else if you would like to. Just pop it in the chat. Anybody like to?
Possible. I have some questions after the session you've done.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first one, you said, I'm sorry, I'm a bit tired and my English, it's been a while when I to talk English. You said you don't have to tell the issue. So I've done an online session with Thelma, and then I had to answer some questions on paper online.
Yes.
And is that the way you ask about the issue, or don't you talk about the issue?
If I have a client, they're coming to me to tell me about their issue. It's, in a session like this, where you are coaches, you don't have to tell us the issue. And, when we say don't to talk about the issue, you often don't have to give all of the details, because you are talking about how that feels now. Now, you could do it without giving no details. Where the details often come is when you're talking about the problem. And if you've got a client, of course you're going to talk about the issue, but you don't have to give a lot of details. So it actually really allows you just to say, what's the block about? Often when you're having to tell the story, say, of a traumatic incident, you end up getting stuck in that. When you are looking at that new issue, new things do come forward. So, but within a coaching client, yes, you are talking about the issue. But for Philippa, she didn't need to tell us the issue. She could work with that. Yeah. Does that explain that?
Yeah, thank you. And when a client chooses a color, like yellow now, are you going to talk about what the color means and why she chose that one? Or do you go through, now you do the steps quite fast?
No, we don't necessarily do them fast. The person will often stop on something and say, oh, that reminds me of, now I can see what I have to do. Yes, if they wish to talk about it, but what we're trying to move away from is that always you're wanting to talk about the present step that happens. So I could tell you a story that will really explain that. A while ago, I had a young woman come to me, and she had been the victim of a sexual assault, and she had she had acted on it. She had gone to she'd happened to still be at school. She'd gone to the right authorities, and there had been punishment. This young man was expelled. He was very popular, and she was not the only victim. So 2 years on, she was very, very stuck, and she'd had a lot of counselling, but she was just extremely depressed, just going further downhill. And her mother actually sent her to me. She was about 17. So when we were talking about it, I had thought, well, that's not my field necessarily. But I said, well, look, this is how I'm going to approach it. So yes, we got the problem. She told me all this. She told me the story, but which was not going to be helpful if I didn't know that. Told me the story. I can't move forward. So yes, she chose the first color that reflected, and it probably was something like black. She was in this hole, she couldn't move forward. And then, what was stopping her from moving forward? And she chose orange. And then as she was going through the orange, she just almost burst out laughing. It was just, oh my God. She said, this is the problem I've been trying to explain to people. And what it was on the orange, but what it was with the orange was to do with her friends. And her friends had heard the story. They knew she was sad. But what had ended up happening was she was almost being questioned about the decision she made. Oh, was it that serious? Did you have to get him expelled? Look at his life now. And but so she'd go back for her counselling, the sexual assault, and yes, they would talk about the assault again and again. But she said to me, I knew that I was past it. I've known for a long time. I've dealt with the assault. She said, and Orange was saying this, but it's my friends. They're doubting me. I no longer feel that I belong, that I'm defending myself. I'm being drained. I'm not being believed. I almost am feeling that I'm being shamed because of the actions I took. So she said the relief that she said that I can hear myself saying that, the relief that you're believing me that I'm over the assault. She said, every time I go, I'm always talking about the assault. And I say, I'm over it. So to be honest, that isn't the issue. It's the fact I'm not believed. So then when we move to the positive, she was then, and I just from memory think it was blue. So I believe myself. I expect others to believe me. She just moved forward with it. When she got home, I thought, well, look, I'm just hoping, you're always hoping that you've been of help, but it was her process. She was totally in charge of it. She said, I've heard myself say it. She said, my inner self was saying it, but this is black and white. It's saying that what I've been thinking is true, but nobody has heard it because I've still been so unhappy. But a couple of hours after she got home, I got a phone call from her mother and said, well, I don't know what you've done. She hasn't said much, but she's back. Our girl is back. Because she now was expressing her inner truth. When I didn't actually see her again, but her mother rang about 6 weeks later and said, her life has changed. She's now decided what she's doing for university. She's moved forward. She's moving away from these friends. She's connecting to other people. And her future has opened up again. So it was very dramatic, and it's not a story I sort of put online necessarily, but it just shows you that just that connection, having those words spoken for you are often, it's why you're connecting to that colour. And so that story, we didn't really talk about the assault. This is what I did want to say about that story. She claimed her power in addressing the issue. All the counselling had been on how she had been treated and how she'd been powerless. She said, I did do the right thing. It took a lot of guts because I liked that boy, but I did stand up, and she went to the principal. She went to the board of trustees. She said, actually, I deserve to be praised for that. And she claimed that power. Look, her mother said she's just a completely different person. This whole aspect of herself had been restored. She was truly connected to herself. That's a very long answer, wasn't it?
Thank you.
I hope that was helpful. Was that helpful?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, always interesting.
Yes, validating
you.
yourself, Philippa said. And look, the power of validating yourself, to see that in such a dramatic form, yeah, it was, and you just feel that it didn't matter well, I couldn't have done that for her. I couldn't have said that. There was this thing inside her. What was being blocked was her own inner truth. So it was quite a dramatic session, and I think we did it in under an hour. So it can be fast because the person is deciding to move on. If somebody gets caught up in a story, you can say yes. You always take them back to the color so that you're keeping them on that track. The 5-step process is a timeline. It's the current problem. You're going into step 2, which is the past and what's caused it, at that subconscious level. Then you're moving into that future pacing. So is there anyone
is an online session as powerful as the one with the board? Because when you have the board, you can choose and you can put the cards on the board, and when you have an online session, it's not tactical, how you say it?
No, look, well, it is because if it's an adult, I work with children, and I do work with children online, but only after I've seen them, because when I'm working with children, I have to have a strong connection. It's just, I just think it's nicer because, I meet the parent, but afterwards I can work online because they're actually connected to the process. But you are choosing the colors, the cursor is there. You are still choosing them. It's that element of choice that makes such a difference. And that was why we did the cards. That really comes from learning styles theory and my background as a teacher. When somebody has to choose one or the other, a lot goes on in your head about, have I got the right one? So Philippa actually demonstrated that. She did the blue, and then she said, no, that's not the right one. It's the dark blue. Now, I don't know if she looked at the statements, but you're sitting there and the person will realize, am I going to choose orange or yellow? Just even looking at the colors, that is a lot of subconscious, subliminal choosing. No, it's this one, it's that one, it's this one, it's that one. There's a lot of filtering going on that would take hours of talk. And so I wait till somebody, I was like, is it that one? Let's check it. But generally it's quite, it doesn't take long. It is high speed. Your brain is just going through all these memories. Yeah. And you can go backwards and say, actually, no, can we have a look at the yellow? It is very powerful doing the online ones. When we do a lot of that with our clients, we do that with all our overseas people. What would you say, Thelma, about the power of the online?
Well, it is quite powerful because I always remember that session, but I had a friend of mine, she was very distressed because she tried to commit suicide and it wasn't successful. And she lives at the other side of Auckland, and that's about, 2 hours away. And at that moment, I said, okay, hold on, I will get up, I will put my screen up, because we were having a Zoom talk and we were just discussing this. I said, don't tell me anything further. And we did a session right there and then. So there was no waiting time. She didn't have to make an appointment. She didn't have to drive all the way here. It is the speed and what happened. It was quite a serious circumstance for her, of course. Because she had everything was organized. Well, I won't go into details, but what happened within 20 minutes, she got out of this suicidal thought, and she stayed out of it because I'm still in contact with her, and she found her passion again to live. Yeah, and it was an interesting series. She is a very good author and she is a motivational speaker. So you can't lose your passion if you want to try and motivate other people. Yeah, that's just a no go. And this was restored, and it's now a couple of years later. She's still working. She's still passionate. There is nothing that's even inkling like she wants to go back to that session. And because I had the online product, the version, I was able to help her right there, right then. And, sorry?
I was going to say, in some ways, it can be more. It's just as intense in a different way because it's just really face to face, and the connection is very strong because the third person in that little, you've got the coach, you've got your client, but then the third person is the book, is the manual, and that's really the vital part where the person is able to refer to that as well. And that's kind of the truth. We could have our opinion about what the person needs to do, but the book is that person's inner truth. And so it works so well, the online. We've done some amazing sessions on them.
Well, and I've also had a little bit of a change in tendency. We are now getting more and more people asking, okay, can we only do the online version? Because I don't coach in one-on-one. I only coach via Zoom. And
Yeah.
some people work like that. So now we're going to say, yes, we can, we will make that different, that give that option. That if some people don't need the toolkit, they just want the online version. Yeah.
How many people here coach, online with their clients? Can you just raise your hand? I think we've got a few there. Any of you?
No.
It just means you've got that, you've just got that material at hand. Well, Wendy's just asked a question in the chat. She took the cards on her lap. First contact with Thelma, she asked for a color without showing them. If you're connected with color, you can just think, oh gosh, what's my negative color? I mean, that's what I do too. I don't need to look at them. I'm in tune with the colors. But I'm always surprised at, if I go to put something on in the morning, I was going to wear that. I'm drawn to that color. And I think, I wonder why I'm doing that. And I don't say, I know why. I wonder which aspect that is, because even though we are working with it all the time, Thelma and I will always get a surprise. We don't assume, and often we'll say, "Who wrote this? Who wrote this stuff? This is very good." They say to each other, there'll be a line there. We say, "Did we write that? I didn't realize that was in there." So yeah, it is. It has so much to tell you, and what it told you yesterday may tell you something different today. So, Wendy has said not yet. No. Oh, no, not yet. But that might be an answer to the other question about the Zoom. So, would somebody else like a turn, or shall we just explore a block? Because we've got the information here. We'll do another 5 minutes just looking at some of those colors or the online system. In the online one, we didn't do it with you, but there's a little introduction for your clients explaining about color. I think there's 10 slides. So that you are in tune with them, saying, look, I've got something new. Can you see that? One time, what is that saying there? Can you see that, Thelma, that chat?
Yeah, so one time online Zoom with my coachees, I asked one how he would feel wearing another color t-shirt. And
okay,
what happened? Can just unmute
you just
yourself.
talk to us. Talk to us, Esther.
But because you asked if I did online sessions with coaches, and that I did. It was during my time there was learning for color comfort method.
Yes.
And one of my coaches was he wasn't feeling well, and I asked him, well, if you would
Where?
go right now to your closet, which t-shirt would you be wearing? With another color? And he looked at me, he was quiet, and then he stood up and he went through his closet, and then he came back, and I heard this. So I knew it was all right. It was a right choice to ask him to go, and how, if he would feel different. Yeah. So it was just, yeah.
That is a really good example, even say before, doing color gnostics, of people just naturally integrating this work into their current work. And where we really discovered that, and it probably really set us on our track, was we had somebody who was doing our accounts, and she also coached accountant. She was a very high-powered. She was a friend of Thelma's. And anyway, she said, look, she was very interested in the colors. She had this client who, an accountant, and then she said the session was going nowhere with them. And she said, oh, look, just humor me. She said, if you were to, something's blocking you. He said, yes, I know. I don't know what it is. And she said, oh, just give it a color. She didn't say anything what she's doing, but she had our book. And he gave her the color. It gave her absolutely the right questions to ask. She said that was all she did, only the block. He answered the question. She just put all of them into questions. He absolutely broke that barrier. She didn't put anything else in. And he ended up becoming one of her best clients. And he just said, oh, that was a fantastic session. She said, if I'd said to him, I'm going to do a whole thing, it wasn't that setting, but she was able just to break the mood and the block he was in. And so when we saw that with it, yes, actually, that's when we really have been for the last 6 years encouraging people to use it in a full-on color gnostics way or not. Most coaches already have a very successful coaching practice. So we aren't saying to you, oh, throw your stuff out and do ours. Why would you? You've already got your system, but you can add ours in to it's just all we are giving you information, but the information is coming from the source, which is the client. And even when I'm working with a child with learning difficulties and I can see that they're blocked, I know they're blocked. I know where it's come from. They've been failing, but I need them to connect with their inner voice, choose a color. And then I'll often do that if I'm tutoring with reading. I'll just get them to choose a color, what's blocking them and what their learning color is. Then we just move on. They don't want to go home. I can tutor them for a couple of hours, if they wanted to. So we've had yoga teachers, we have a massage therapist. You can incorporate it, or you can do it as we do it. But most coaches, if you're already a coach, you want to do it your way. But we've given you the 5 steps, and you've got all that information. But that's an amazing thing, isn't it? That when you change this T-shirt, what a wonderful story.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Philippa, that is such a great comment. Helps people be vulnerable without knowing it. Wow, I just love that, because I don't think we've ever seen it quite that way. Because that's what happened to that girl who had the sexual assault. She was used to talking about that sexual assault in a certain way. And if you've had people that go to therapy, have been to therapy a lot, you'll notice they go into, when I feel bad about myself, and they go down through the steps because that's the talk. And then they do a color, and it's like, it's a different self-talk. We are really identifying a person's self-talk. And I have had but I don't have a lot of male clients, actually. I have some, but because I work with children, I end up working with the mothers, and then I'll have some men come along. But what I notice about men is they've already decided on the solution. Because I had one guy, he came with about 5 pages of it, and he said, look, I know that you're going to ask me this and this, so I've worked it all out and worked out the solution. I said, oh, well, that's great. And but the solution was still in the problem. It was still in the problem. So for him to choose a color was very difficult, because he said, well, how is that going to help? Just do it anyway. Just humor me. He just went out and said, none of what, he couldn't believe it. He said, this is nothing like I thought it was going to be. He kind of presupposed all the outcomes. But yes, people, that's right. They are able to you're going to a very different part of yourself, which is very hard to get to if a person has got a lot of barriers. And of course, it's the barriers that are preventing them from moving forward. And, people need to, as we've said, we said last week, it's very important people go away feeling that their spirit is intact. We're not there to pull the person apart. You want them to go out feeling strong. Any other questions or comments, or would somebody like to look at a certain colour in detail? Or
gold, please.
gold. And in the positive or the negative?
It's my first card for today.
So that's the
Step
the
one.
negative. Step one.
Yes.
Can you bring that up, Thelma?
Step one. 10, 11, 12, and 13.
Right. And what colour did you choose in the positive that was the most powerful colour?
Is that step 3, 4, or 5?
Or 5, yes. Which one did you go for? Just pick one colour that's still the block there, Thelma. Oh no,
I know,
to go to
but I
number.
have to move forward. I don't want to go.
Yeah. So which colour? What 3 colours did you choose there,
Pink.
Wendy?
Pink.
So pink is the one you want to look at?
Yeah, that's the third step to color I choose. Oh, I like number 8
Ah. Mm.
and number 11.
Keep going down. There's another couple there if you've chosen those, I think.
16.
And what was your other colour? Choose another one of those. Pink is such a soft colour, and it's so powerful.
Card number 4 was silver.
Right.
I think you can better ask which one not instead of which one yes.
Silver is amazing. I love it when I get silver.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, you can see just how different they are. Silver is a very strong colour. Thelma, I'm just realising we did need to go further down into our PowerPoint. Just we've got that little bit of information, have we?
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
You go pull it up. Because I was just thinking ahead to next week and realising we haven't finished off this week. Once we get into our interaction with our clients or our people, we can talk for hours. Yeah. So where were we there? Yeah. Oh, there's our online platform. And you've obviously got the box. So you've seen the online platform action. Oh, there we are. So what we did want to say here, just want to put on, this is just a week-long discount. to thank you for being with us. 10% discount. There's your, if you just write that one down, or it's Web 2 Cull 25. So it's Webinar 2 Color 25. If you write that down, if you're interested, it's 10% discount on so when you access and join this, you get you get an instructional module, as well as being able to subscribe to the platform. It is, we've paid for that platform. We paid to have it set up. It's very reliable. It is amazing. It was actually set up by the husband of one of our coaches. So next week, and we're hoping that you can join us. We've got one more webinar, but it is really important to know, how can I integrate in my current coaching practice? Look, you can do it exactly as we've done it, which a lot of people do, but you may also say, well, depending on the clients, the age of your clients, you may wish to do other things. So that's where we will use excerpts from other models to add to your coaching skills, because sometimes you get a client, first of all, they've got the first 2 sessions are clearing these huge blocks and these huge problems, but by often session 3, they're really looking forward. And what we really needed was to really develop that plan. So we ended up developing this super simple vision board using the manual, and it is just so powerful. So we'll just show you that. You've got we're also going to be looking at the physical symptoms. What do the colors say about your physical symptoms, and how you can, find out what's going on. Plus, there's a whole new method. Well, it's not a new method. It's just a more in-depth method when you're dealing with trauma, where people really have got no words at all. It's just so locked in their body. I use it with children and adults. So it's just a more layered method. And then for people who want to run workshops on this, we also have a module for that. So we're going to have a look at that too. So bring your questions, and yeah, that's this week's. Hope we see you next week.
Yeah,
And
I hope the other people will come online, because there have been a lot of registrations. Maybe it's time difference. It's in the States, it's during the day. In Australia, it's too early. It's just a story about that.
It is very difficult. We've gone for the 12-hour difference, which is Europe. And so that seems to be, we hope that that's a good time for you. It's, and then we've got daylight saving coming up and ending, so that's going to throw our clocks out again, but we'll be here next week. And if you've got any questions, or if you want to tell us, how many of you are using Colonostics at the moment in your practice?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, Esther, we're the same. Ours finishes too. So I think we're still the same, but we'll be here at the right time. We'll have to look at that. Those time clocks, I know it's, we're ahead of all of you.
It will be 6 o'clock for us in the morning.
Oh my God. I'm not a morning person.
It's early morning. Okay,
Anyway.
well, thanks so much.
Okay, look, thank you, everybody. If you have anything you want us to particularly address, just send us an email. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll incorporate that into the webinar.
And I want to ask Erika. Erika, you were the one who wanted the color meditations, huh? Or not? I think so. I think it was you. But
why don't we do one of those next week?
Always a good idea.
But I have changed them. I thought it was Erika, but I'm not sure now. Someone was. Wait, I am still working on them. They are really being different, and yeah, we could do one next.
We could do one next week. So next week we just want to give you a little taste of everything, just so you know how it's working, and have a colourful week.
Can I ask just one question? I really like it to talk about it with the group like this. And there was a Facebook group, but Thelma was hacked, I believe. Is there a group or a community?
It should
There
still be
is.
there.
It's still
Yes, it's still there. Yes, I will just
can't
check
there.
on
But
come
all
in.
of that.
it's called
Oh,
Colonostic Community, something like that.
looking through it now. Maybe I could invite you. Are you on Facebook, Saskia?
Yes. But I
If
don't
you
use
send
it
me
as
your
much.
details, I will
Okay,
invite you. Esther, I can see
Yeah.
you're on it. Yeah. And look, you can speak Dutch or English because the whole thing just translates itself anyway. Can you put a link on
cool.
here, Mary? Yes, I will.
Yeah, please.
For some reason, yeah, so the link is it's just called Colonostics Community, but yes, I'll have to put the link on. What I will do is I will put it in an email because
That's good.
I'll just check, which I can't do right now. It's called Colonostic Community, and I have to accept you. If you have a look at that one, but I will check that all the links are in place, and even if you give me your names, if I've got your full names, I can invite you as well.
Okay.